For most car guys, the call of the open road is undeniable. You and your machine, and the world laid out in front of you waiting to say hello. And there's no better way to see the United States of America. I've always wanted to take a road trip across the country, and this year, I finally did it. For 3 weeks in the months of May and June, I struck out across the country in the GTO. In this episode, I begin my journey, starting from my home in Wisconsin and making the long drive down to Austin, Texas for the inaugural V8 Supercar race. My name is Josh Harrell. I host Josh's Car Corner, and this is my road trip. Let's ride. Well, here we go. 6 a.m. Just left home. Okay, I'm now on the Interstate I39. I'm just north of Portage, going 73, and I have a new road rule. Anybody who passes you, and then you get behind them and they start going slower than the speed they were going when they passed you, you get a free shot at them. Well, I'm in Madison, I'm on the Beltline, and I have hit the morning traffic. It's been a while since I've lived down here, and even when I lived down here, I didn't really have to deal with this. Because I lived in Cottage Grove, I could sneak around on the back roads, and I never had to get caught in this traffic on the Beltline that often. But even compared to like other big city jams that I've been stuck in, Madison isn't that bad. And the one nice thing about the traffic here is it at least keeps flowing. It never really comes to a complete stop. So people with manual transmission cars find traffic jams annoying. I look at it as a good workout. Of your left leg, anyway. Well, the Madison traffic just made me a liar because I've now just made 2 complete stops in the last 100 feet. You get up to 30 miles an hour and all of a sudden, whoosh, down to nothing. And I'm sure it's just people not paying attention, slamming on their brakes, and then that starts that whole accordion effect. And that slamming of the brakes will probably echo all the way back to the Stoughton Road on-ramp. People just need to pay more attention in traffic. I am now going to go back to a technique I used to do in the days when I worked for Unisys, and I would occasionally get caught in the traffic, and I'm just going to leave myself a huge gap in front. That way, if the traffic does stop in front of me, I can come up to it gradually, and hopefully by the time it starts moving again, I don't have to completely stop. And that will help cancel out this whole accordion effect that happens in traffic, and people behind me won't recognize it, and they may find it annoying, but it's better for them, and if they could and would see the difference, they'd thank me for it. Of course, the downside of playing the gap game is that people think, ooh, there's a huge gap there. I'm just going to pull in front of him because there's a huge gap. And then you have to start all over again. Yeah, I've now been in the traffic for 20 minutes, and I'm just now getting to Fish Hatchery Road, and it just occurs to me, the Beltline is a major, major artery of Madison. It has to be open. I know it has to be open. The road is cracked, it's potholed, it's bumpy as hell. They need to repair the surface. They need to replace it. I know they need to replace it. I would just prefer that they just shut the whole thing down and get it all fixed in 2 weeks. And then everyone can suffer the major headache of having to divert for 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, have the whole thing done and repaired and open and ready to go and get on with life. As opposed to having to crawl through the construction and the traffic jam every day. Because that's got to be more inefficient than just forcing people to go another route for 2 weeks. I mean, think of what happened in Minneapolis when the bridge collapsed on I-35. People had to divert for months while they fixed that bridge. There was no alternative. And I bet it would have been a lot better doing that than if, say, half the bridge fell and half the bridge was still sound and good to drive on, and you had traffic compressing from all those lanes down into 1 or 2 lanes to get across what was left of the bridge while you're repairing the rest. It would have been more efficient to just tell everybody, nope, go another way for 2 weeks while we fix this road. I wish they'd just do that. So why did I decide to go on a road trip? Because I could have just gone down to the race in Austin and then come back and just taken a week off. But instead I'm taking 3 weeks off to drive around and see the country. So why would you want to do that? Well, for me, vacation doesn't have to be, you know, lying on a beach somewhere or going to museums or anything like that. It can be an adventure. It can be a journey. It can be seeing sights in a different way. People fly to destinations and go see things that way, and that's fine. I guess I just prefer to see everything at ground level. And I'm a firm believer that before you go and see other parts of the world, you should take a step outside your own front door. I mean, as kids, we were fortunate enough to go on vacations in a camper, and we've seen some places. We went to Colorado and Wyoming and the Dakotas. We flew down to Florida a couple of times for vacation. We've gone to the Carolinas. But I was a kid. You can only experience so much as a kid. And you're kind of tied into doing what everybody else is doing because you're a kid and you're not in charge. Whereas something like this, it's me on my own, making my own decisions and doing what I want to do and see what I want to see. And for me, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, this trip is whatever I can make of it. If I have a terrible time, it's on me. If I have the best time ever, it's on me. So that's what I like about it. And I'm really, really looking forward to this. And because I've never gone on a trip like this before, and there's no guarantee I'll ever go on a trip like this again, I think it's safe to say that this is the trip of a lifetime. Well, here it is, my first state crossing. I'm about to cross the Mississippi River, and then there's no turning back. I will not see this river again for 3 weeks. I gotta say, they got construction on it right now. They got one of the lanes shut, and it looks like it says shut the duration. The river looks nice and full and strong right now, which is good. It was so low last year when we crossed it last September. There were sandbars everywhere, but it looks like it's in really good shape right now. And there's green everywhere. And here is Little Dubuque. It used to be quite a mill town and a port of call for the Mississippi River. Most of the factory work and blue-collar foundry work is gone now, and it's just a city. But it's a cool town. I come here at least once a year driving through for the gone meet or driving down to a drag strip or something. I've been across this river many times. Well, I just passed the exit for Iowa City. Iowa City was the place where Field of Dreams was supposedly taking place. Actually, the field is outside of Dyersville, Iowa, and the field's still there. Actually, the last I heard is whoever bought the property is now going to build a baseball complex there with multiple fields. And I guess the idea is they're going to try to host baseball tournaments there and stuff, which I guess is a good thing because it keeps the original field intact, but maybe not such a good thing because I'm sure it'll take away from some of the mystique of the place. I hope they don't have to tear down the farmhouse or the barns or anything like that, because that's all part of it as far as I'm concerned. It's such a great movie. I still remember quite a bit of it. We actually went to the Field of Dreams when I was a kid. Mom and Dad took us there on a vacation one time, and I actually played on the field. And Dad pitched. He pitched to me, and I can remember he pitched to some other kid, and he said to him, "See if you can hit my curve," which is old Kevin Costner line from the movie. And from what I remember, the kid did hit the ball pretty well. I think he got a double out of it. But that was a good time. Oh, by the way, I had made the decision that I set myself a goal for the trip that I wanted to learn something new that I didn't know before while I was on this trip, that a new skill. And I found it yesterday. I bought a harmonica, and I have this goal in my head that by the time I get home, I want to be able to play 3 songs on it. I've been learning one, and it's one I saw on Craig Ferguson, "Oh Susanna," and I kind of am learning it. first try this morning, I swear to God. But yeah, I was just playing around for about an hour last night, and I figured that out. So I'll have to think of a couple other songs to learn and play. But I am having fun with this thing. So stay tuned for that. Well, I'm just driving through Cedar Rapids now. Not much I know about Cedar Rapids except for the fact that there's a lot of corn here. There's a General Mills plant right over there. And there was a movie made here. Fantastic movie. It's got Ed Helms, Anne Heche, the guy who played Foreman's dad on that 70s show. Another guy who's been in a lot of movies. Just really funny, really well done movie. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out sometime. Really good funny movie. I've been looking for I-80. I was expecting it to come up by now. I've now traveled 255 miles since I left Princeton, and I'm just under half a tank. I might have my best tank ever here. I've actually got the wind at my back, I've realized. There's winds coming out of the north. So, yeah, 450 miles would be about the best I've ever done, and I'd say that's pretty realistic. 500 probably no, but 450? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. If I could do that the whole trip, boy, fuel wouldn't cost nearly as much as I was anticipating. It's funny, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I woke up at 5:30. Well, I actually woke up at 5. I rolled around in bed till 5:30, trying to get back to sleep. I just couldn't. I've been so excited for this. It's just, I just keep having all these thoughts about what's going to happen, what I'm going to see, who I'm going to meet. It's just, my mind just won't stop processing. So I couldn't sleep. So I got out about 6. I should have got out a little earlier than 6, but I was having problems with cameras and I lost the key to the car for a second. But yeah, I've been on the road now and since 6, 4.5 hours almost. I'm fine. I'm wide awake. I'm comfortable. I haven't stopped. I've got a water cooler back there. I haven't needed any water. Haven't needed any food, which is good because I got to keep this. Well, as one lady put it the other day, my high school figure, which is, I'm actually still, I think, a little above my college figure, but working on it. Okay, so I figured out where I went wrong. I must have lost 151 somewhere in Cedar Rapids because I'm now just on 30 West. And it had another highway on it for a while, and now that's gone. And somehow I've ended up in the rolling hills of Iowa. Not anything I ever thought I would be saying, because I usually think of Iowa, and I think most of us think of Iowa as pretty much just flat farmland, and this is not. There's actually a bit of a marsh over there. So, but the traffic on the road's very good. 4 out of the 5 vehicles you see on the road are just semi-trucks. The road's very empty. They're easy to pass. I'm going 65 on a posted 55, and no one seems to care, and there's nothing around. Time-wise, I'm doing okay. It says I'll be in Kansas City at 3:20, and fuel-wise, I am doing great. 295 miles, and I've got more than 3/8 of a tank still. So 400 miles, no problem. 450, we will see. Okay, I want to show you guys this. I want to show that there is proof. Look at the range, first of all. I just filled up. I have never seen it say that before. If we go back to here, average speed 65.6, average fuel economy 26.4. Trip distance on tank 454.6 miles in 7 hours using 17.2 gallons of fuel. So I'm not making this up. This has got to be some kind of a GTO record. Or if it's not a GTO record, it's got to be very, very close to one. So, and I got stuck in traffic in Madison for half an hour. So if I hadn't done that, I might have gone another 10 miles, maybe more. Who knows? Awesome. Okay, it is now 4 o'clock. I have no idea how many miles I've driven, but I have been in touch with somebody in Bartlesville, Oklahoma that I was talking to on the forums before I ever left. His screen name is Jason, and he lives there, and he has invited me to swing that way and meet up with him. So right now I'm have my GPS set to Bartlesville. It says my arrival time is going to be about 7:11. I'm hoping I can get that down to about 7 o'clock. And we're going to have some dinner at B-Dubs. And then I'll just find myself a place to stay for the night and carry on tomorrow. The temperature has gone up dramatically since I left. I mean, it's now, I'm not traveling in weather that's probably low 80s, and the humidity has definitely gone up. I'm having to cycle the air conditioning now to stay cool. I run it for 2 minutes, leave it off for 5, and my speed's picked up. It's still a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit here, but I've gone from going 75 to about 77 now, just because I want to make some good time here at the end of the day. And by the time I'm done, we'll probably have traveled about, I don't know, maybe 800 miles, which is not bad. I mean, I feel like I could go more. I still feel very good, and all I've had today to eat is water and a king-size Snickers. So I'm feeling pretty good and doing pretty good. I had a bit of a sleepy spell back around Kansas City, but I got over that, and feeling good. So we shall press on. Well, it is now 5:35. I have been up for a little over 12 hours. I just entered the state of Oklahoma. I've run into rain that I'm probably going to be in for, looking at the clouds, another 20-30 minutes at least. I've seen 2 dead armadillos, and I just found out that I'm on a toll road and I have no cash. I would have cash right now, except these stupid US Bank debit cards that I got through work. I had $8 left on the one, and it wouldn't let me spend it at the last gas station in Missouri for some reason. It would let me spend 25 of it, but it wouldn't let me spend the remaining 8. So I had to use the cash I had on hand to pay for my gas. So I am now left with no cash, and I didn't realize I was going to be on a toll road, because originally Well, the mic may have died before I got to finish that video, but fortunately the toll booth was able to take a $100 bill when I got off at Veneta to head west to Bartlesville. I met up with Jason at Buffalo Wild Wings and got to see his amazing 05 GTO that he had converted back to the Holden Monaro CV8Z that it came from. If it wasn't for the fact that it was left-hand drive, I would have thought that he'd had it shipped over from down under itself. After dinner, I booked myself into a hotel just north of the Tulsa airport, and I made my way down US 75 to Tulsa. After 13.5 hours and 847 miles, it was time for a good night's sleep.